So ladies and gentlemen, I did something that I would not encourage any of you to do, but I'm going to tell you anyway because I think it's an interesting part of the story. I wanted to find out how viable this little recipe was, so here's how I tested it. Number one, I made a decision not to talk to anyone that I currently knew. I mean, after all, I've been involved in the industry, been the editor of Upline for 3.5 years. Almost everyone I knew was whom? They were movers and shakers in the industry, and if I just picked up the phone and called the people in my Rolodex and said, here's what I'm doing, you should give up what you're doing, come follow me, and if they came and followed me like the Pied Piper, how would that prove this little philosophy would work? Oh, sure, I might go to the top of a company, but how would that help anyone else? No, no, no. I didn't want to talk to anyone that I knew. Number two, I didn't use my influence. I didn't talk to anyone who knew me. And number three, and I'm not advocating this, I'm just telling you what I did. Number three, I didn't do any advertising. You can't go back and find a single ad when I came out of Upline Journal that I ran saying, Michael Clouse joins the XYZ company looking for leaders, come be a part of the team. Because if I had done that, I mean, my second book at Upline magazine, maybe you read it, entitled Business is Booming, had sold over 1 million copies in the first 6 months. If I put an ad in the trade journals and let people know, people would have picked up the phone. You know people would call. I've got your book, you're involved, can I be sponsored by you? Because a lot of people are delusional. They think if you can write, you can be a good mentor. Not necessarily so. But you know, they would call, and then how would I prove that this would ever work? Wouldn't prove anything. So I didn't talk to people that I knew, didn't talk to people who knew me, didn't do any advertising, and here came the last point. This was interesting. I made a decision then and there because of my involvement and my association that if anyone I met through normal conversation, as I moved throughout life and needed to find these prospects for my new business enterprise, if they were currently involved in network marketing, they were off limits. I developed a philosophy, honor the ring. Worked for me. I mean, if I were single and I'm not, and if I were looking for a date and you know, my wife is sitting here, I'm telling you I'm not, but if I were, I wouldn't be looking for a ring, you know what I'm saying? I would be looking for someone who was single and available, of course. I thought if they're involved in a network marketing business, it's either working for them or it isn't. And if it's working, they're probably not interested in making a move, and if it's not working, you know, is it going to be any better over here? I just made a decision. Let's go test this little philosophy. Well, I've got to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. At the very beginning, it wasn't easy. How many of you would like to involve yourself in artists from this day forward with those same 4 criteria? Don't talk to anybody that you know. Don't talk to anybody who knows you. No advertising and no network marketers. That's called hard. I'm telling you, it's hard. You know, some things are easy. Some things are hard. That was difficult. You're involved? All bets were off. All I could talk with you about was Upline Journal, what was going on. But I had to learn through that process how to meet someone that I didn't know, how to engage them in conversation, turn conversation into a little business card to a follow-up, a little follow-up to presentation, a little presentation to association, association to leadership, leadership to friendship, which I think is the highest evolution you can go in our profession. And when you've got these people that are all your friends from all over the world, and you're talking about where you're going to go play golf, where you're traveling together, the next trip, who's coming along, if that's the conversation you have finally evolved to, not why are we talking about this portion of the compensation plan or how the ingredient in this particular program, if you get yourself up to friendship, it was the highest form. But you had to start with hello. I mean, somehow this conversation, if you were talking to people that you didn't know, figured it out. Guess what we found? Extraordinary. Anybody can do it. I'm telling you, anybody can do it. What you're going to learn through this artist training program, you're going to be able to go out into the marketplace and share with the next person you meet, and they're going to be able to go from distributor to platinum just following this plan. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, they can go from distributor all the way to platinum just following this plan. And more importantly, it won't really matter where they sponsor their first person. If they happen to be in Seattle, Washington, and they sponsor their first person in San Francisco and they get them the artist training system, they're going to be plugged in. They're going to be able to follow it and go from distributor all the way to platinum. If they sponsor them in another city, another country, another part of the world, they're going to start here, start working through the ranks, go from here to there. They'll know how to do it. I'm telling you, it's incredible at what we can accomplish. So I built my business up. One conversation, one association, after the presentation, association, leadership, friendship, all the way on up, built one of the largest organizations over a period of 10 years in our profession. Now here I am, top of my game, every accolade, every achievement, every honor, all the things that I suppose most of us strive for within the profession. And I'm 44 years of age. And you know what I realized? Being here on a stage, talking to people that were new in the business and teaching them what I had uncovered gave me more satisfaction than any other facet of the business. It was just, for me, it was incredible at what you could do by influencing 1,000 or 10,000 and sending them off with the hope that it's possible for them. And so I made a decision to shift my career, and I retired from that company at 44 years of age. Now what? Would this philosophy work for someone else? Would it work in another company? Would it work in another country? I was curious and wanted to find out. Well, I started having conversations with another business here in the States. They were doing about $100 million in sales 6 years ago. And when we started having this little conversation, they'd been around for over 20 years. They had a great product, nice compensation, good people, everything was working well, about $100 million, good company. And we made a decision to see what we could do together. First year, I invested about 60 days of my life traveling and conducting about 30 seminars for their company. And they went from $100 million to $234 million in 1 year. I thought, not bad, not bad. Oh wait, there's more. Second year, I invested about 60 days of my life with this company, traveling to about 30 different locations and teaching even more people. They went from about $234 million to over $500 million in the second year. There's more. Third year, about 60 days of my life invested, about 30 trips, airplanes, getting in front of as many people as we could, teaching them this little philosophy. They went from $500 million to $968 million in 1 year. From $100 million to almost $1 billion by taking a company with a good infrastructure, good product, good background, and just teaching them this little philosophy that had proven so effective for me and for the people that I'd shared it with. Let me tell you something. Since that initial conversation, other companies have called. We've tried it. This has been implemented in Scandinavia, different companies throughout Europe. Wherever we've gone, teaching this little basic philosophy has allowed them to go from where they are and just start accelerating to levels that are just almost imaginable or unimaginable. Here comes the best part. Now it's your turn. Now you get to hear this. Now you get to experience this. So I want to tell you, first and foremost, being out here today, I am extraordinarily respectful that you have allowed me to be simply the messenger. Because that's really all I am today. I'm just the messenger. This really isn't my material. This is the collection of what I learned at Upline Magazine from all these great individuals that had come before me. All I did was package it, try it, prove that it worked again and again and again. And so when I picked up the telephone about mid-December and had a phone conversation with this gentleman sitting here, Alejandro, and we started talking about your company and what was going on, the conversation lasted an hour, and then another day or so went by, we spoke again, and another day or so went by. It seemed like almost every day or every other day we were speaking. And within a relatively short time, I was on an airplane down in your corporate office. First day I showed up there, from 9 a.m. when I was picked up by him at the hotel, we spoke until 9 p.m. that night, 12 hours with your leadership team. And you know what's interesting? They don't eat lunch. It just, have you been in the office? Noon came. You know, I didn't want to say anything, but it was noon. And we were talking, and I thought, well, maybe 12:30. 12:30 came. No one's going for food. But I'm the new guy. Maybe they'll bring it in. They'll probably bring it in. They have people, I'm sure, they'll bring something. 1 o'clock, nothing. 2, nothing. I finally said, do you eat? He said, oh yes, we eat about 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock? Okay. So the first day I ate at 3 o'clock, which was fine. The next day about noon, I said, I need food. You can take me, I could walk, I could borrow someone's car, I'll be back in an hour. Anyway, we had a great time. Got to spend some time hanging out, meeting the family, meeting the leadership team, talking to different individuals, exchanging emails, because I needed to find out if what you were doing and who you were was something I thought would be a nice blend here. And you know what? It is. I've got to tell you something. I am so excited about the future because we take this and overlap what you currently have going on the plans that you have for the future, I'm telling you what, get ready. Get ready. I mean, get ready. This is going to be exciting. So here's what we're going to talk about, that being that little story. That's how I came in front of you today, and now I have a unique life with my wife. We've been together now 33 years. We've got a couple of children living at home. Well, not living at home, although sometimes, you know, they never really leave, do they? You know, they're there all the time. Our son's 31, our daughter's 29, married, couple of grandkids. We've got a little 5-year-old grandson named Eli and a little 2-year-old grandson named Jacob. And I sent him a text before, and I said, they're streaming this live, so if you're out there, Papa says hi. Of course, by now, they're probably gone playing it, watched me a couple of times, waved, and that was that, but who knows. But anyway, life is really sweet, and here's what my wife and I have done, and this is the goal for you at some point in time, I would imagine. We took the calendar, 365 days. We divided the calendar up like this. 65 days, I get to continue my endeavors in our profession. 65 days I travel, 65 days I teach, 65 days I share. 65 days, if you need some assistance, send me an email. I'll do the best I can. I can't promise I can help, but I'll do the best I can. For 65 days, if you call, I'll return the call. I don't know if I'll have the answer, but if you call me, I will call you back. 65 days. But that's all I'll do, 65 days. 300 days I spend with my family. 300 days out of the year, my wife and I have a pretty simple life back home. We wake up in the morning and say, which Starbucks should we go to this morning? Should we go this afternoon? And if you happen to be from Seattle and you know where Mill Creek is, okay, Mill Creek, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, usually from 10 to 3, the little Starbucks down by the Central Market, probably you'll find us there. Stop by, say hello. Seriously. I like to go down, talk to people, still mess around with them, talk about the prospects, the future. Have some fun. Visit with individuals. Make sure this still works. So what's the philosophy? What's this little 10-step system? What's the strategy that you're now going to be able to implement? Let's get into the 10 steps. Are you ready? If you're ready, say I'm ready. Okay.